Seems Susan ain't so lazy. Look at her spinning. Not a lot of stuff in the Porsche sphere for the week. We got a little bit. Seems Porsche is unhappy with their future prospects as a company, so that's interesting. But there's going to be some pain because they picked the wrong things, like electric cars. You're a freaking sports car company. Of course you picked the wrong things going with electric cars. Come on. You just wasted all of your energy based on being in the EU, kowtowing to politics and making electric cars. Not, hey, sorry. I think they have a lot of, it's a spinny noisemaker. It is a spinny noisemaker versus a spiny noisemaker, maybe. Yeah, anyway. I'll talk about this. We'll talk about the apology letter I just wrote. We'll talk about that a little bit. Jamie's not perfect. As many of you might write and say how perfect I am, I will tell you you're wrong. You're wrong. I'm not. I'm not. I make mistakes. It happens. So, welcome, Mr. Beck. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I have some updates and some interesting science-based activities between us, a few other parties who will remain unnamed, at least not completely obviously named, and Mr. Mike at Black Sheep, who is the caretaker of your awesome cars. So we've got some things going on. We'll talk about that. We'll share a brief video of the silver 996 GT3 RSR clone with a bunch of our goodies in it that actually rolled on its tires under its own power for the first time in a number of years here this week. So that was cool. Do you have that video, Justin?
I just put it in.
You don't have that video. It's in a WhatsApp. 1 second. You will have it shortly.
What you sipping on?
I am sipping on another one of my concoctions. It is Colonel Taylor. The last, I think I got one more, probably one more drink out of the Croatian, we'll call it vermouth. It's more like a aperitif than a vermouth. So it's a little bit of vermouth, a little bit of grapefruit bitters. I got a peel from a cutie in there, so a mandarin orange. Give it a little bit more, something, a little bit more bitters. It's delicious. It's delicious. I didn't do the fizzy bubbly like I did last week. Kind of made it hard to talk. I had all those bubbles in me. So let me grab this. We'll do this one. Just download. Stop it. You don't want to forward. Just download it. Gimme. Gimme. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Save. There we go. So we'll start talking about this GT3. Let me get this downloaded and we will get, I'll throw it in social media. Excellent. All right, so we didn't get the same winners as last week. That's good, because I was about to have a problem with the software that keeps picking our winners. We had same winner 2 weeks in a row. Saying, we need some more people to comment on our shit. Otherwise, all of y'all are gonna be like shooting fish in a barrel. You just keep coming, and all 5 of you will do stuff, and you know, won't be a thing. Okay, I just hit paste on the wrong thing here in Slack. Excuse me, one moment. I know we're live, but give me a second. I'm going to waste everyone's time and fuck with my phone for a minute. Because, you know, that's why y'all tune in on Whiskey Friday. So here, watch me hold down a button so it'll massively delete things. So the article, we'll start with that since I am deleting something. Porsche admits trouble ahead. Our business model no longer works. Wow, those are large words. Happy Aloha Whiskey Friday, Mama Adams. So Porsche is essentially saying they screwed up. They done screwed up. How did they done screwed up? Well, they done screwed up because they went all in on electric, and then the world pivoted. So we'll see if that actually sends here in a second. It's 14 megabytes. Watch for it in there. World pivoted back away from electric a bit. Things started to kind of show up. Maybe electric isn't all it's cracked up to be. Elon went crazy, gave electric kind of a bad vibe. And there's other ways to do this. There's hydrogen. Toyota's pushing through it. Yeah, I think 9,000 layoffs sounds about right. Which, in the scheme of things for Porsche, is not a lot. I don't know how many employees they got, but they're a billion-dollar company, so it's more than 9,000. I know that. Hell, Microsoft just laid off, how many? 3,000 or 4,000? Something like that?
I think so.
Kind of a blip. Not really. I feel bad for the 3,000 or 4,000 people. But tech companies are known to be a little bloated anyway, so... Yeah, I would expect U.S. sales are up, especially if they're including ADM. Oh, no, they probably wouldn't, because that would be PCNA saying that. So, and China did fall off a cliff. Yeah, I think a hydrogen car is better than an electric car anyway. You have some control over it. Even if it's a hydrogen fuel cell car, great. I'm good with it still being electric, but not a lithium-ion battery, because that's a whole bunch of stuff that gets dug out of the earth. Can't really recycle it. It isn't really, it's going to go back in the landfill. It's going to be a whole thing, right? So, yes. Oh, look at that.
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday. Okay. So Porsche is the most appealing brand. I don't know what does that mean in the U.S. appeal study? Most appealing premium brand. So the prettiest, it's the prettiest girl at the dance. That's cool. I don't disagree. They make pretty cars. So it's funny how Porsche Newsroom dropped that, and then somebody else dropped, we fucked up. That seems pretty normal. Let's talk a little bit about the apology email that I just had to write. We had kinda, Jack, we'll come back to that. So yes, this shiny metal in front of me is stealing my thunder, but you know, we'll get back to that. So had to write an apology letter. Got some local clients, new clients to Dundon, in Porsche circles for a long time, referred to us by a common friend. And they caught us not at our best. So things took longer than they should have. Typically, I am able to navigate the needs of our passionate Porsche guys pretty well. I didn't do my best. I kind of let these guys down. We weren't communicating in before they were asking. We weren't communicating updates as to what was happening with their parts before they were asking. When they did ask, because of things that were going on, I wasn't at my best, and it kind of came through in the communication. A lot of it was via text. Not a lot of it was actually voice or in person, and text can be impersonal because of the nature of it, and things can be taken out of context. I'm not using those as crutches, so I am making a public, vague post level apology to these two individuals, and they will know if they see this who they are. So we're hoping to do better next time. We are resolving our supply chain issues, and that's why this shiny thing is in front of me, and I'll get back to that. So anyway, had to write an apology letter. It's not my favorite thing to do, but it is a necessary thing to do when you are the guy at the head of the guy with the crown on. Heavy is the head, so you've got to both. You get the accolades, which are great. You also get to deal with those who are unhappy. and try and, you know, put a sorry together when it's warranted. Sometimes people are unhappy because they're unhappy, and there's nothing you can do about it. There was something that could have been done, and we can do better, and we're striving to do that. We've taken the steps to be able to do that. So let's move on to why is this beautiful thing in front of us? So let's talk about that. Part of the reason that they were unhappy was because of timelines for them to get their bespoke, highly engineered, superstar exhaust products for their Porsches. What we thought we were going to be able to deliver in a certain time, we weren't able to deliver in that time, so the date kept moving. This was incredibly frustrating internally because it wasn't any actions on our part that were predicating the moves. As soon as we would nail down a date, then a supplier would change something, and we wouldn't know until the parts were supposed to be here that they changed it. So we're calling them, we're chastising them, what's going on, why is this a problem? Whole slew of reasons associated with, some of them tariff related. Yes, we get things sent from Europe for our builds. Yes, we get some things sent from like carbon parts are from Asia. That's kind of a given. Not the Asia that you think it is, but other parts of Asia. None of the muffler parts come from that part of the world, mainly Europe and the US. Some of the US guys were impacted because of Europe tariffs. So steel products in particular have been a hot spot as of late. And so US distributors were getting hammered because they weren't willing to purchase and then pay for all of these tariffs until things were getting sorted. So they were dwindling some of their supplies down. The guys in Europe weren't willing to ship them. They were kind of cutting off some of the US distributors, and companies like ours were getting the squeeze. We're talking to them, when is it coming? When is it coming? It's not here yet. It's not here yet. It's not here yet. Great. And some of it's like tube. It's just tube that we get. And or bends that we get with American-made tube that the bender is in Europe and then comes back to the US. So whole giant logistical clusterfuck. Not our customer's problem, but still incredibly frustrating. So what do we do about it? So as opposed to staying with the standard quo, right, and just like burying our head in the sand, we do what we do. We designed a version 2 of our loud muffler. So why did we design a version 2? You're going to be waiting a while for that, Simon. Touche, my friend, touche. And you know that made you smile every time you saw it in the rear view. You know it made you kind of a little smirky smirk showed up. It's a little inside. You guys can imagine what that was. But I shared this in previous Whiskey Fridays, so those of you who have kept up know what Simon is talking about. So there was a gift given to me on the Lab Rat when we left Atlanta before we took off for the mountains. So, but I'll come back to that. This is the Dundon 321 loud muffler version 2. And I am super excited about this. This is how Dundon solves problems. This literally is how we fix things. We go back to the drawing table. We take all of the things that were an issue off of the table, and we introduce new solutions to it. So I'll give you, for instance, X-pipes. The X-pipe here, you can see it's 3D printed. It's printed as one piece. It's freaking amazing. We've got a number of parts of this that reduce labor times and eliminate labor at 10 to 20x is where we're at. So an X-pipe, how we were doing it, 5 X-pipes would take one guy an entire 40 hours to build. So between getting the bends, cutting them, fitting them, tacking them, making sure that they're at the appropriate geometries, and then welding them up. These show up, they're done. They're more expensive than doing it with tube. Well, I guess that's a question, maybe. That's a good question, Ryan. It's a question down to the material. And this is why we use the materials we do, but that is a great question. So by 3D printing the thing that takes the most time, and through Charles and team's crafty use of eliminating some of the things that were difficult to assemble, like some of these cross braces are in addition. Typically we would have to kind of hold this entire assembly together with half of the skin. You'd drop it into the front half of the skin with all the tabs, go through everything, and it made it take longer than the new way. But you don't get to the new way unless you did the old way. And then by embracing modern technology, we're able to get to the new way. So let's talk a little bit about that. This internal piece here, you can see it's pretty thin, you know, so we didn't sacrifice anything for weight. It's not like super thick. It's made from 347 stainless, and we partnered with our 3D printing partner to co-develop this process. They hadn't done 347 stainless 3D printed parts. They had done some Inconel, they had done some 316, but they hadn't done 347. What's special about 347? I might have Philly help me in about what's special about 347. I know the gist, and I'll see if I don't fuck it up. I think between Justin and Philly, we'll get it right. What's that?
Might be a him question.
Yeah, probably. Hey, Justin, so I don't fuck it up. 347 has more blah and blah and blah than blah.
It has better stabilizer for higher temps.
Yeah, so it's got better alloys for high temp stability than 304 or some other things. Oh, it's welded, brother. So the connection here you're talking about, that's welded. This is pipe that's or tubing that's slipped inside, and that's all welded. So so that's the traditional way of making X pipes. This is the new way. 347 we've been using in our exhaust systems now for over a year. Our collectors are all 347 printed. They've been handling the heat beautifully. No issues, no cracks, no issues, low stress, lower stress than a fabricated part, because when you fabricate a part, you've got residual bend stress, you've got welding stress, you've got a number of stresses in there that you have to deal with. And additive, it doesn't have any stress when it's done. It's essentially been annealed as you get it. It's just, that's a bit of an engineering misnomer. Yes, there is some stress. There's not as much stress. I'm pretty sure Orist would kick my ass for saying something like that. So yes, there's some stress, but there isn't as much stress as that. And good on you, Justin, for pulling out that picture. I didn't expect that to, right? Button down, come on now. This is just my pink. This is linen, brah. I wore this shirt for Smokies. Give me a break. Justin trying to give me shit.
You can kind of see what would happen where you weld this, so the tube will bend into itself.
Yep. So as Justin's explaining, without his mic, which I will chastise him for because his producer, he should absolutely have a mic and be able to butt in. The debauchery's coming, don't worry. So you can see through making of an X pipe, the welds there are going to try and pull that planar surface together. So those two outlets that are cut planar, it's going to try and pull those two towards each other, because welding likes to make metal move towards itself. And then as you move the others, depending on how you weld it, it's going to want to compress or increase the bend angle from the inlet to the outlet on that side. So there's just a lot of moving parts in fabrication, and it's a lot more. There's a lot of science to it. There's a lot of art to it, and it's one of the things we're going to talk about here. So this was the very first one of these that we put together. and this is why we do this. So you can see that we got some buckling. Got some buckling. And this happened. Okay, so why did that happen? Well, the reason that that happened is because of the order in which we welded it. It made the muffler want to taco on itself. And so these had to buckle because of the stresses that were coming towards us. This was number one. So we tried a method and order of doing it. Then we tried a different metal or a different order on number two, and number two was better. And we tried a different order on number three, and then we thought we had improved it on number four, and actually number three was the right order. This is the scientific method. This is, you have to be courageous enough in a small business to try shit. If you're not courageous enough to throw something in, to do R&D and throw some shit in the trash, then you shouldn't do it, because it's scary. It's not that scary. I'm fine with it. This is a massive improvement in labor and time for us. Like Philly, he started these on Thursday. He had 5 of them fabricated by like noon today. He went to the Tacoma Porsche dealer to go pick up the car because he was done. That would have taken more than a week for anybody else just to get them all to this state. So we literally just compressed the time by like, I don't know, 10x.
0.1.
Yeah, we're at 0.1 time, which is great. So that means we can make more of them. And when we have a surge in demand, which is what happened, we had everything planned. And the shitty thing is when you're a small business, all of your planning software is linear. Nothing's ever freaking linear when you're small. It never happens linear. Oh, it's going to be the same as it was last week or this or that. No, it's never that way. You sell 10 of these this week and none of them for 2 months is kind of how that goes. You try to sell more of them over 2 months, but it's generally how that plays. So I'm super excited about this. We have the same things happening on our mini crack pipes. We're using the same kinds of solution sets on those so we can build those quicker. We're doing the same things on our titanium mufflers so that we can bring their 4-week lead times much lower down. Doing the same thing on the mega crack. You can see all of the 3D printed materials that we use. Everything that looks a little matte is all 3D printed. All the organic shapes. We've been doing this for a long time. We are all in on additive metal. All in. And it is a huge enabler for us, such that maybe my Aston Martin might actually get headers, because Charles made some headers in kind of the slipstream of all the other additive metal stuff we did for his RSX, and then I didn't even know that happened. So I don't know. So, and they come with tabs, la 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 la, all that stuff. Do you think less polished inner surface of the 3D printed parts will have any impact on the sound? No. Simple story, Larry, and you understand, it's boundary layer. So the waves that are coming through never really get that close to the edge, and quite frankly, the surface roughness of the finish versus the tube isn't really it isn't really a thing. It's, you know, the wave propagation is the thing for us, not the particle flow. Particle flow is more, it's adequately sized and allows it to come out, and therefore we don't get any backing up of particle flows, which then causes a buildup in pressure. And I'm not using the word back pressure because I don't like that word, and neither should you. But that's a story for a different day. So yes, very excited with the team, and all this happened literally in like 3 days. So those of you who have been waiting for loud mufflers, first of all, many apologies that we have not been able to pivot as quickly as we might have liked. Shit happens in a small business. It's unfortunate. We don't have infinite resources to be able to apply them as we might like to. But those of you who have been waiting, the wait will not be as long as it has been. And so the weights going forward will be substantially diminished because we are applying our big nerdy brains to solving what is a capacity problem using technology in a I'll come back to that, Orist. A capacity and labor problem by eliminating the amount of labor necessary to do it. You know, we improve the capacity by just eliminating those steps. Take it to zero. Divide by zero. Engineers love that. How do I get rid of something? Multiply it by zero. That's how you do it. It's the oldest algebraic trick in the world. Multiply both sides by zero, it's zero. Zero. Doesn't cost zero, but time is going to zero asymptotically. So that's very, very excited about this on a number of aspects. So Ryan, you're gonna laugh. The majority of our parts are made on a program called Shaper, and it runs on an iPad, and it runs brilliantly on an iPad, and in most cases, far better than SolidWorks. We still have some things done on SolidWorks. So Jorge, who's our design engineer in Croatia, who'll be here in August, I think he's coming. Is that right? So we'll have him on a Whiskey Friday. He was here about a year ago. He's coming to do a bunch of suspension PDFs so that, you know, building of them. We have just a pile of new suspension parts coming through. Charles used Shaper. He taught himself Shaper. I have a friend from high school that taught himself Shaper, and I learned of Shaper from Jarek. And Jarek has been an artist forever, and is thanks, Simon. Yeah, that Chitanium. Yeah, we love Chitanium. It's the best material ever for watching shit fall off cars at speed. So it's Shaper. If you are interested in it, they have great tutorials. It is an incredibly powerful software suite. Yeah, Inventor, SolidWorks, CATIA, all that. Take a look. Take a look. It's has the same engine as Siemens. So Siemens built the engine. So it's what is it? NX. NX is the big boy version of Shaper. But you can hell. The iPads now are so powerful, it's silly. So Charles has had multiple gigabyte scan files in here, and he's like spinning them all around and showing us everything, all the CAD work, spinning with it, and you try and do it in SolidWorks, it instantly crashes. Just crash. Doesn't even try to do it, just crash. So anyway, very excited by this. Super excited to be able to get people their parts in a I'm not even sure how to respond to that comment. Wow. Yes, Jack. That you read my mind, brother. You read my mind. Go back through some of the comments so I can catch all of them here. All particles find the path of least resistance away from any wall most of the time. Absolutely, yes. You get that bullet shape. You know, you plug flow like this, or, you know, depending how fast it's going, it'll change the shape. My fingers can't make that smooth curve that things like to flow through here. That's the shape of the wave as it's coming through. At the edges, not so important. Not so important. They're gonna change a tiny little bit. We got the Taiwanese titanium. Get that AliExpress exhaust with all those pie cuts, all pre-blued for your pleasure until it blows up when you're on track and shit starts falling apart. It's really kind of shitty. We got another science project brewing, which I don't. Where'd my box go? Did I put my box down? There it is. Can somebody hand me this box? Yeah. So,
This box?
no, the box on the floor.
That box?
Yeah, I just need one of those inside. Perfect. So, those of you that know us, we're making suspension bits, and inside this suspension bit is a spherical bearing. The spherical bearing is a bearing that's mainly, it's not like a roller bearing or a ball bearing. It's similar, not quite the same. Essentially has one ball, and the one ball is this thing in the middle that moves around. So what are these used for? These are used for pivot points in a suspension. And FK is the bearing maker that we use for these. And FK has been fantastic. As a supplier, they are responsive. They, when we say we've got a question or an issue, they help us understand the issue. They help us investigate the issue. And there was a small number of bearings that they shipped us that escaped a QC issue. And so this has been going on, and Larry will understand this because he was one of the recipients of one of these. These are Teflon lined spherical bearings, and Teflon's kind of the de facto accepted way to build a bearing. So I've learned a lot about how you build a bearing over the last couple weeks, talking to a number of folks. So essentially there is a ball that is made and polished and hardened, and it's stainless steel, and it's hardened. And then there's a race, so the thing that the bearing goes inside. So you can think of it's like a sphere, and then it's encapsulated with a collar, and that collar allows the bearing to kind of move freely inside there. I'm glad you like that, Ryan. They're about to get better. So this is really exciting. So we have a lot of odd friends out in the world. Company that makes really high-end coatings for the military. DLC coatings. You guys, I'm gonna say DLC, and everybody's gonna go, hey, you mean like the 991 engine? Yeah, like that. So Dundon has balls of steel. Well, thanks to FK, we buy our balls of steel from FK. So we've got a lot of folks out in the world. My background is from semiconductors, and a lot of the processes used to apply DLC coatings come from 30, 40 years ago in semiconductors, PECVD, PVD coatings, these kinds of things. So I'm familiar with how this works. You have precursor gases that you put in a chamber, you apply a bias to it, you create a plasma inside the chamber, and all of the metal kind of drips or is driven to the thing that you're trying to coat. You know, be it a silicon wafer or a piece of metal or whatever it might be. So Teflon is great, but things can be better. The issue with Teflon is it's thick, and because it has thickness, if it starts to wear, then the bearing will begin to have a small amount of play. Like, as I'm feeling, this is one of the ones that Mike at Black Sheep sent back to us. And I understand that all the bearing manufacturers, FK, everybody, there is, first of all, let me caveat some of this. Bearings are a wear item. They're not going to last forever. So regardless of what anybody tells you, they're not going to last forever. They are a wear item. It's just, how long does it take? And what are the parameters in which you would judge that a bearing is past its usable life, right? That's a bit of conjecture and opinion. There isn't a strong I mean, there's obvious. I mean, if it's rattling around in here and it's not holding its tolerances on an alignment rack, yeah, it's got to go. But a small amount of deviation is still deemed as okay. Great. So this is Jamie coming up to speed on the world of bearings. Fantastic. Like, well, what if we made the coating, because the thickness of the Teflon is about, what is it, 0.017 inches. Philly, can you convert that to microns for me? 0.017 inches to microns. Ideally to 10 to the minus 6 millimeters, but...
well, 0.17 thousandths, that's roughly...
you can use a calculator.
It's like 0.4 millimeters.
It's like no, it's not.
17,000?
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So 0.4 millimeters. So almost half a millimeter. So we're talking about half a millimeter. So the coating that we can put on, this is just some really fucking cool shit. I love this shit. So the guys that we're talking to are a research and service provider on the East Coast for thin films. And they have a film, and they do, when I say DLC, that's like kind of saying bread, right? How many different kinds of bread are there in the world? You got focaccia, you got sourdough, you got rye, you got biscuit, you got shrimp biscuit. No, I'm kidding. So you got all this huge family of things that you could use. And these coatings, tribological coatings, meaning friction reducing coatings, are a huge business. And the things that you can do with a plasma enhanced chemical vapor deposition, so PECVD, or physical vapor deposition, PVD, or a combination of the two, depending on what it is you're trying to do, and the precursors that you employ and the temperatures that you use, the functional ends that you have available on the surface energies that you come to. Yes, Dundon made my bearings out of bread. I love it. Simon, I can't wait until you come visit us and we get to do a Whiskey Friday together. This is going to be like one for the ages. So the amount of manipulation they can do to the chemistry to create a functional coating and what it can do and how it can adhere to things is amazing. So I'll give you the gist. So they're already doing this stuff for the Air Force. They're doing it for the Army. They've already done some of this for Formula One, and they're interested to do it with us. Why? Why in the hell would they want to do it with us? We're not going to sell 1 billion bearings. We're not. Why? Well, it's because they're Porsche guys, they're motorsports guys, and we do Porsche shit. And so we just we're from the same tribe, and we're all a bunch of nerds, and we're getting off on nerdy shit, and it's really exciting. So we're going to go from 0.4 millimeters to 30 microns on one surface and 30 microns on the other. So we're going to coat both the ball and the race with 30 microns of material that will have the same friction, will have lower frictional characteristics than Teflon when Teflon's, going against steel. So it'll be very slippery and move very easily. We'll have incredibly low dimensional tolerance issues because we only put 30 microns to the machine surface, so we're not having to fill any gaps or deal with anything. The hardness of the film, this is a spectacular part of this. So the steel, a hardened steel like we use for these things, I think these are, I forget which stainless they are, but they're able to harden them to about a 30 to 40 HRC. And I don't know what HRC is. Maybe Philly can say that. I'm a chemie. You lose me on HRC. What's HRC?
Rockwell hardness.
Rockwell hardness. Thank you. So
Or Rockwell C.
Rockwell C hardness, correct? Yeah. So on the same scale, the DLC coating that we're talking about with them is thousands of Rockwell hardness points. So it's diamond-like, right? So we only have to worry about it fracturing. And so as long as we keep it thin and consistent and low stress, it's not going to fracture because everything, it's not going to be point loaded. So there's no reason that it would ever be fracturing. All of the contact points are contacting at all points. All of the points are contacting at all points. Say that a couple times and let that work around your brain. So 0.4 millimeters is 400 microns. That's correct because a millimeter is 1,000 microns. So we're talking about a total of 60 microns, not 400. So almost a 10x reduction in the thickness. One of the mechanisms that I have in my head as to why these bearings with Teflon fabric might have a faster rate to which there is tolerances exposed between the race and the ball is that it starts to compress. And through its compression it also wears because it's really, it's much softer than the steel. So it's going to wear. The coolest thing, honestly, I love this shit. I just absolutely love this shit. I spent an hour talking to the engineer at the coating company, and we're talking about all the applications for this, all of this thing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I call FK. I call the CEO of FK, and I was like, "Hey, I got a left field idea for you. You guys down?" And he's going to make custom balls and races for us to try. None of this is necessarily going to happen quickly, but the fact that they're willing to try it and make us some parts custom so that we can enable this to happen, that's the best supplier in the world. I couldn't ask for any more, right? And I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if this is going to crash and burn. That said, the coating guys say it already works. So he's like, if you guys call us and you want us to coat some shit, we'll tell you what we should coat it with, and then you guys can go build some bearings. And I can already tell you that highly likely it's going to work. I can't tell you why I know that, but I can tell you it's very highly likely that it's going to work. Well, fantastic. I appreciate you. And now we're getting our NDA together and all this bit. So, Ryan has a question. Speaking of wear, would you say spherical bearing boots extend the life of the bearings enough to justify the extra $400 to $500 for a while suspension? If you're going to be driving the car in dusty, dirty circumstances and or shooting water at it or shooting brake cleaner at it or these kinds of things, yes. If the car is going to be taken to the racetrack and taken home and well cared for and under cover and not in dusty, dirty circumstances, maybe. We don't, and the reason we don't is we know that we're not off-roading, we're not putting a bunch of grit in these. Very few of them are, yes, Dundon does cool shit. Dundon loves working on science projects. It's one of the reasons we don't make money. Because the guy at the head like, ooh, squirrel, that looks cool. Let's spend money doing that. That looks fun. Larry, you ask many good questions. I don't know the answer to those yet, but they are currently the ones that make the bearings. And we're just fucking around with their process and seeing if they're willing to go down a rabbit hole with us. And if they do, cool. If it works, we'll figure that part out. I have no idea. I have no idea how this works out. This is incredibly premature to even be talking about it, but y'all know I like to talk about shit before it's real. And then a year or two later, it actually becomes real. Most of the time we're able to get shit across the line. So, and it just feels like it's something ripe for a bit of innovation. Honestly, it feels like Teflon is 50, 60 years old, been around for a long time. This has been the de facto way to do things. These don't have to cost pennies. We can make them cost $100. It's like our exhaust. We can make them cooler and more expensive than Porsche does because we have a market that appreciates and values with their dollars the innovations and things that we're able to bring to bear. And if it's small amounts, that's fine, but that's typically how these things go. You know, before it's mass market, you've got to find a subsection of the market. I don't know if that's a word or a smaller piece of the market, you know, the tip of the spear guys that are interested in doing some cool shit. See if it works. If it works, it should work like a motherfucker. Yeah, I got my Breitling on. I'll talk about that. Good eyes. So I'm really excited for this. I'm excited that FK has partnered with us to try it. I'm excited that the guys that we're doing the coatings with are interested. Here's something else that's really cool. So they've got a coating, a DLC coating. This is something they shared with me. A low temperature DLC coating that they can put on injection molded plastic or 3D printed parts. And they are comparing it to machined steel gears. So they DLC coated a plastic gear, and they are subjecting it to the same kinds of loads as a steel gear is made for, and measuring the wear on the steel gear versus this coated plastic gear, and they are exceeding the wear characteristics of the steel gear by an astounding amount. The world's pretty cool. World is pretty cool. When you start looking around and you start seeing how you can take some peanut butter from one industry and some chocolate from a different industry, and you can throw some freaking peanut butter and chocolate together and make yourself a Reese's peanut butter cup that neither industry even knew happened, and just live in that slipstream between industries. Oh man, it's such a beautiful place to be. So much cool shit comes from that. So anyway, I'm really jazzed for, we're 10 years in and I still continue to be jazzed for how we're going to be doing this shit 10 years from now. How we're going to be doing, you know, it's cool. It's cool. It's why we do this stuff. And we get to apply it to cool cars, which makes it even cooler. Hell, we could be making drones and I'd be as jazzed about this and probably be making more money if we were, but we chose dinosaur burning, loud puff of smoke making race cars. So still super fun, and liking cool shit's liking cool shit. We'll talk about my watch here for a second. This is my second watch I ever got ever. I had this, I sent this off to Miami. It's very shiny. It is it's a Bentley version of the Breitling. I think it's a Navitimer. I forget which one it is, honestly. It's one of my chronographs, the date. My wife loves these. She loves that they're so shiny. So I'll use the word graduated. That sounds incredibly arrogant and pompous. But yeah, I think it is a Navitimer Bentley. Thank you, Justin. I have a couple Breitlings left in my collection. My very, very first one I will wear at some point, white-faced, a little bit smaller than this. But I sent it to a shop in Miami, and they completely reconditioned it because I wore the holy shit out of this watch. It was scratched to fuck. It was, it had sand in it from when I used to go surfing with it on. I'd wear it in the water. I'm not a collector. I beat the shit out of my shit. I buy it because I like it and I wear it. That's it. That's it. So, I know you're not supposed to get your shit polished. I don't care. It's shiny again. It already has a couple scratches on the clasp from where I'm typing on my laptop because my laptop is aluminum and it likes to scratch my watch. I don't take my watch off. It's fine. There you go. Look at that. Just like that. This is the Bentley GT. I don't own a Bentley. If they made an Aston Martin version, then I would probably own that. But who does the watches for Aston? Is that Tag? I don't know who does them. That's making noise. My wire's making noise on my mic. 100%. I buy whiskey to drink. I buy watches to wear. I buy cars to drive. Done. There's no place in my life for buying shit to look at it. I've gotten into gun stuff lately, and guys wanted me to buy a what the fuck is the fancy fucking gun that I bought? Not quite as gun guy as I should be, but I listen to my friends and they tell me what to get. So Nighthawk. So I got a Nighthawk 2011. I was looking at a couple other really fancy 2011s, and our buddy who's an FFL was like, you know, those other ones are nice, but you should probably get this. I'm like, okay. Yeah, brother. I know Simon's into his watches. He travels with a couple. So, absolutely. Yeah, the chunky Breitlings are coming back. It feels like, and it's got some weight to it. And I'm lucky. I have a gold Daytona. I guess it's called the Smurf. I was talking to a customer earlier today, and I actually just talked to another customer who owns a jewelry store in Connecticut. He's a Audemars PK dealer. So we were talking about that. I've not been in to the APs. They're the Royal Oak guys, I think, the like octagonal ones. I think that's right. I'd rather get myself a perpetual calendar IWC, either a big Pilot or something like that. So Valkyrie by Nemesis Arms. I have not heard of this, but I like the name. It's just like our wing. I like that.
I already found it, but I was like, yeah, let's not do that.
Which one? The gun?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. The not suitable for kids and nobody wants to show gun shit. Yeah, YouTube's very for not picking sides. They pick sides, but it's all good. Suppose at some point someone has to. So, anywho, that's all I had prepped to check. Oh, the silver car. There we go. Silver car. Silver car's running. Let's show that video. This is pretty dope. This video has been a long time. It's not showing anything, but sorry. This video has been a long time coming. And I'll give Adam a lot of props for this. And I'll explain what's going on here. This is in our complex. Literally, this car hasn't moved under its own steam in probably 3 years? 4 years? I'll explain why. So. Actually, Jack, the platypus is, I've heard it's really good. But there's also, what's the other new one that does Glock? What's the other fancy 2011 maker? The one that Doug got. Doug's not watching. My brain is mush. No, this isn't Shitbox. This is Dennis's car, Larry. This is DC's 996 GT3. So, little history on this car, and we'll get back to guns here for a second. So, this was one of the cars that kind of initiated. Actually, that's not true. It was Leeds Boxster was the first car that we put a 991.2 GT3 4-liter in to demonstrate that it was possible. So Leeds car has a sequential, and before that it was a manual, relatively easy to integrate. This one happened because Dennis kept breaking engines. Because of how he was driving them. They were manual transmissions, and he would blip, and he would blip, and then the blip would fall, and then he'd have it in gear, and he just let out the clutch. So you're taking an engine from say 2,000 RPMs, very quickly up to 7,000. They generally don't like that. You know, that's a really fast acceleration of all of the internals of the engine, faster than it would get there normally under its own steam. There are consequences of doing this. Generally, stuff breaks. He did it with some Metzgers. He did it with some DFI engines, some 991.2 GT3 engines, and that's when we took his manual transmission away. And that wasn't a money shift, so that's slightly different. So money shift is when you downshift, it's already at high RPM. You downshift too far, essentially, and then you let out the clutch and it goes woo, way high. This is a little different. This is a compression shift. So you're letting the engine go all the way down to like 0 RPMs and then quickly accelerating it back to 6,000, right? So you didn't blip and get the shift done and get it in gear and let the car like come down in that gear. You held the clutch in all the way down and then blipped it, like ran way up. So anyway, but not exceeding its RPM limit. He didn't do that. So what we've been trying to integrate for a few years, and we've been trying to integrate a PDK transmission, a Porsche PDK, with a Bosch Motorsports ECU that in this car is running the engine. And we found a company 2.5 years ago, HTG, out of Europe, that did these. And we got it, and it didn't work. So we had to pivot and we had to move on, and we've been working on other things, like with Pumpkin and with Calibrated Performance, to try and get all of the infrastructure together to be able to resurrect Dennis's car. So a lot of the things with Daniel and Calibrated Performance and Dundon and Pumpkin and all that stuff is still ongoing and very, very close to being re-released. I am hopeful that Pumpkin sees the track this year again. But we were able to short circuit Dennis's car. I reached out to Adam LZ a bit on a lark and said, because he was using HTG to do some differential control on his BMWs. And when we reached out to HTG, we were getting no response. Just no response, no response, no response. Kind of, unfortunately, sadly, typical for some small businesses. They do a thing and then they leave. Yes, Larry, yes, that car. That's correct. So Adam LZ gave us the name and number for Adam Klama. And Adam Klama is, he lives in Poland, and he's been out here in the US, both at Dundon and at Drift HQ, Adam LZ's compound in Florida, over the last 2.5 weeks. And so there's still some things to clean up with Bosch on the ECU side of things, so that it's communicating right and we can actually do some full throttle shifts. But the transmission controller is working as advertised, and Adam has everything working. So you saw that car. If you show that video again, you can see that it is shifting gears, and we've got the shifter in it. It's shifting gears. He's like running through the gears, and it just seems like a normal car. I think he goes all the way up to 4th or 5th in here. So it's crazy that this car is running. So we've got paddle shifters that need to go on the steering wheel. Dennis has a dish steering wheel, so when you put the paddles on there, they're like a really big reach. So we've got to change the angle and we got some physical mechanical stuff. I am very, very hopeful that Dennis's car gets done. I was hoping that it would be ready for our track day on Tuesday, but disparate electronic stuff, talking to each other from many years ago, getting upgraded, doing stupid electronic things, not wanting to play nice, blah, 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 blah. So Daniel's working on it. Adam is at the ready when we're there. Charles is less frustrated with it. Won't say that he's not frustrated with it. He's still frustrated with it. But it's making progress. It's really making progress. We should have some parts for Pumpkin. I'm going to talk to Daniel again next week. And literally, he's telling me that parts are going to get here, they're going to plug in, car's going to work. Love to drive my car again. That's the car that I was planning on driving on track since I've had it. I've had the car 11 years. I've driven a whole lot of other cars on track. Haven't driven that one very much. So will be cool to have Pumpkin ride again, and maybe even before October this year, which would be fun. So anyway, I believe that is all we had, except for our winners. Jesus, I keep trying to cut us off. We haven't done the winners. So we have winners from last week. So the winners from YouTube is B Bostrom 155. When you see this, B Bostrom 155, I need you to email us at sales@dundonmotorsports.com. And then we're going to tell you something to write in a comment on either that video or this video, doesn't matter, just write a comment so we know that you're the emailer and that you get you end up with the stuff that you won. And then we've got 4RS Mike and M2 Envy. You guys send us some DMs. We'll get you your on Instagram. We'll get you your coupon code. Get some swag. Get your swag, all. Share it with your friends that we're doing this. Let us all know. Subscribe. Hit that little bell thingy to let you know when we're doing stuff. I notice a lot of you do. I see a lot of the same names in here every week. I love it that you guys are with us. Tell your friends to join us. We're spending money trying to get people to join. Do this. Come listen to me prognosticate about bullshit. Sometimes it's cool. Sometimes it's comical. Sometimes it's just flat out silly. So we got cool new hat designs. There you go. It's yellow. And actually, if you like turn it in the light just right, it looks gold. Doesn't look very gold right now, but yeah. We got a whole lot of cool new shirts. We got a summer, what was the summer one that Kieran got?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't even see that one. I didn't even know that happened. We got a yellow one. That was for Charles' daughter. She loves that car. Yellow's her favorite color. Lydia, if you're listening, that shirt was for you. That's actually Paul Blake's car. Yeah, I'm glad that it's always entertaining, brother. I try and do my best. So that's the trucker hat we did that mimics the Flat Rock hat, the one with the girl looking down. That one. I found that hat because everybody loved it so much from the Flat Rock. It's a great trucker hat. It's great. 996. Look at that. We got a 996 shirt. We got all kinds. Go to our apparel website. We got all kinds of Porsche shirts. You know, we try not to over-brand them with like giant Dundon on them. We're just trying. We got GT3, GT3 RS, and that's the only thing on the shirt. So lots of things, lots of stuff for you guys to pick out. All right, y'all. It's 5:45. It's time for me to go get some goodies from the restaurant. Go home, watch a movie with my bride. I'm probably going to ride my bike. I'm going to ride my bicycle. Secret word. We got plenty of 997 shirts, bro. Go in there. Go in there and look. You got all kinds of 997 GT3 and GT3 RS shirts. Don't give me that shit. What is our secret word? I think it's additive is the secret word for the day. Pound additive. What do you guys think? Is that too nerdy? Jamie apologize? How about that? That doesn't happen very often. Could do that. What do you think, boss man? Platypus. Hashtag platypus. Just like totally screw them. Platypus? What the hell did they even talk about? Hashtag Nighthawk. Yes, I did. Yes, I did, sir. Yes, I did. That's certainly not kid friendly. I don't think we want to make that the word.
Did that with, did this with Ted.
Yeah, we did that with Ted, actually. Modified 4RS was faster for a very long time, and a stock 9923 RS is only, it's like tenths of a second faster now. I think he's up to about a half a second on a modified 9923 RS. So, the Dundon sauce is real, baby. It's real. You think Simon has to be the winner? We're going to go with pound veined? Really? Please no. I don't think I can go that hard in the paint. I don't think I can do that.
Better than ribbed.
That's fair. That's fair. I think they're pretty close together, though. There's only so many things that come to mind when you say veined. At least in my dirty ass mind. Let's.
Oh, we gotta do it. We have our first.
Oh fuck.
Dang, our first super chat. Screenshot that.
All right, first super chant. I guess it's pound veined, and y'all have to listen for context. Veined it is. The people have spoken. All right. For next week's YouTube winner, and Alex is going to be like, what in the hell did you guys talk about when he's editing this and getting this ready for next week? It's pound veined. And pound veined sounds even worse than veined. So.
First super chat.
Congrats, Ryan. You're the winner. You're the real winner. And Simon, I can't wait for our first Whiskey Friday live together. Oh my God. Too funny. Too fucking funny.
We have to clip this.
Mm-hmm. This is legendary stuff happening in real time. Very cool. Very cool. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go get some dinner. We got our code word for next week. Hashtag veined. I'm not gonna say the other one because that just makes it even more naughty. And anyone who wants the story of this, please put it in the comments for me to explain, and we'll share some pictures and some video. This is Smokey's 10 lore. Any of you guys who are interested in Smokey's 10, you'll have to wait till Smokey's 11. Smokey's 12, because Smokey's 11 has sold out already. And I have a funny feeling that this is going to be a little bit more rampant in 11 than it was in 10. Just a funny feeling. So, all right, y'all, you all have a wonderful weekend. Always a pleasure doing this with you. Thank you all for attending and being a great part of the Dundon family. We can't do this without you, and we do it because